and it's worked out quite well. We also happen to be very lucky that I'm in Miami, a town that has seen exponential growth in the last 3 or 4 years.
Right. And plenty of shenanigans.
Plenty of shenanigans, so that people need PR. Crisis.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset.
If you get one shot at this, what kind of shot are you going to take?
If we forget who we are, they're going to forget who you are.
And you've got an adversity story that's out of this world.
Everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer.
Jared, thank you for joining us today. We're super excited to have you on the show and learn about you and your business. Today you run a marketing company, or tell us what you're currently running today. What your current
Sure, it's the Tag Experience. We're public relations, marketing, branding. So we do PR. That's our bread and butter. But people call us for crisis communications. They call us for influencer. They call us for social media. They call us to write content, produce anything. You know, companies are really. We've had clients say this to us. Look, we're really good at making money, but we don't know how to do anything else. And that's when I say, well, we'll come in and we'll help you. We're not very good at making money, but we're good at everything else.
Isn't that bizarre?
You know, I think everyone's got their specialty, and you see sometimes, like, I mean, even the greatest businessmen in the world are just, sometimes you're like, wait, did he just say that? Or the president, or politicians. You're sometimes in shock at like how their messaging gets through and goes through. Right? Wait, somebody let him tweet that, or you know, those kind of things. And so I'm not in shock that people have specialties. And I think in this day and age where communication and messaging is sometimes so urgent and so fast paced, you know, now more than ever, you need somebody on your side that's going to say, you know, hey, why don't you take a breather, put that out tomorrow, kind of thing.
Absolutely. It's so important today more than ever because we can talk so fast. It has such a large reach. And what I'm really learning right now in the PR world, and my wife teaches me this more than anybody else on the planet, is that I can say something with one intent, and I think it's totally fine, but it offends a ton of people, right? I don't know that. I don't know all cultures and all worlds, right? I'm just a guy that, you know, living his life. So I can see a lot of times just misunderstandings happening.
Yeah.
Just very simple, like, you know, we're shooting this episode in July, right? And I'm reading today in tweets about, you know, President Biden saying he might have cancer, he might not have cancer. It was all this stuff. And I think it was probably just an innocent banter conversation that speech that he was giving that's been misconstrued all over the place.
Everything matters. You know, there could be a whole thing in 3 weeks where if you're wearing a black t-shirt, it means something. And, you know, here I was taping it in July, and oh, look, he's one of those black t-shirt guys. I don't know. We are very careful with all of our clients and making sure that they watch over everything that they do. We practice. You're going on a Zoom, you're going on a podcast, you're going to do a TV interview, you're doing a print interview, you're posing for a photo. Like, what? Let's discuss that just in case. Nothing should go unprepared these days. I think you're crazy, especially the bigger and the larger the platform that you're going on, or you yourself as the business owner, you have to be prepared. It's also a wasted opportunity if you're not prepared. Why wouldn't you want to perfect your messaging and say exactly what you want? You're going to waste time just babbling.
Exactly. You know, when I prep people for the show, a lot of times, and I'm not really super consistent, but, you know, I tell people they're allowed to promote their business and all that stuff. It's shocking to me how many people come on the show and don't have any offer at all, right? No, like, oh no, I don't want to talk about my business at all. I'm like, well, this is a big part of why we started this show, is to grow together and help promote each other's businesses, right? And then all of those things. So I see business owners on a regular basis go into situations, public speaking, that just aren't prepared. And to be honest, I'm as guilty as most of them a lot of times, right? I jump into situations, and that's what business owners do, right? We take those risks.
For me, it comes naturally. I don't need to prepare a lot for speaking engagements and for, prepping to talk about my business. But other people, I want to make sure that's not what they spend all day looking at numbers, or maybe they own 20 restaurants. They're really good with food, or they developed an
Right.
app and they're very technical. But so how can we help them with other aspects so that the world can be aware of how special they are?
Right. So let's just use Jobs and Wozniak, for example. Jobs was pretty much Woz's PR person, right? and motivator. But we wouldn't have Apple today without Jobs, but we wouldn't have it without Wozniak either. Do you see that we're running into, as we're coming into more solopreneur and more small companies getting to high numbers and being more in the public face? Do you see more of the introverted people forcing themselves to get out and be the face of the company?
Yeah, and I think it's a shame. I pointed this a lot. I think a lot of people out there are looking at the Elon Musks and Mark Zuckerbergs and Kanye West and Donald Trumps. There's a lot. I mean, look, all those people are special in their own way, and they're super talented in what they do. But
Yes.
good Lord, like all of those people, they also have their own special sort of brand of not doing things the right way that you wouldn't necessarily want your children or your business partner doing. That said, how do you argue with the success of those people? So we're looking at it through this lens of you're sitting at home on Twitter and Elon Musk can say something that you would never be allowed to say, or do something that your CEO would never, and he gets away with it. And so
Right.
I do worry about, and I have startup founders that are my clients. And so they look at what all of these people are saying. And, I'm in the middle of watching that the We Crashed show on Apple right now to look at that founder, Adam Newman, and the craziness that he did in raising billions of dollars. Yeah, there are these solopreneurs. They're doing it on their own. They work 24/7. I'm not saying it's the wrong answer. I'm not saying it's the right answer. I think we
Right.
have to be aware there are multiple ways of building up your company. Success does not happen overnight, even for those people. We're working with a client right now that's 12 years in, still don't have the exact prototype to go public, but they've been funded very well. So they're fine behind the scenes. You don't see,
Right.
Everyone loves to point at Amazon's founder starting in a basement, and this person started in a garage, all of that stuff. So I think it's important we remember those humbling moments before you get your 500-foot yacht. You are going to be struggling and in the chaos a little bit. We have to all be okay with that our moment may not come. You may not be a unicorn at 27. You may never be the unicorn, but you can still build a
Right.
successful company and have a successful life.
Absolutely. And if you, on a spiritual, religious, whatever side, if you are that unicorn and you're not prepared for it, you're just going to lose it anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we have clients that have we have a client that just got 20 million in funding. We've had clients we have a client that got 775 million in funding, right? So if you are not properly prepared to run I'm going to be as humble as I could be right now. I don't know what I would do if someone handed me 775 million as an investment. It's not my forte. Well, okay. You're scratching yourself. You're like, well,
I've got a couple 700 ideas for sure.
Yeah. But, so you think about these clients that, how the CEOs and the pressure that's on them to deliver to these boards. And we have other clients that have 400 million in assets under management.
So you've got these huge companies. You've also, on the other side, you've got the Musks and all those guys. When somebody raises 750 million or even 100,000, right? When do you always give the advice to put the leader of the company as the face of the company, or is it okay to kind of go behind the scenes and let something, let the Geico lizard do it for you?
Yeah, that's super cool question, because we do have specific clients where the head person is not the front facing person. Either A, they don't want to be, or B, they're not right for it. Or maybe we have people alongside. We have a venture capital company where the number two person there is super marketable as a young female in venture capital, as an immigrant. So telling her story has been fascinating. And so getting the media to pick up on that, and they want to hear from her. It's such a different voice than your average VC. Yeah, so that's for sure. That's part of the thing about PR is us being able to look at the client and saying, you've got a little shining star there that you're hiding back there. Like, let's bring that person to the forefront, really give some great exposure to your company.
Right. It doesn't have to just be the leader, but it can be any part of your team you can bring up to the forefront and utilize them. Use, I think, is the wrong word.
Absolutely.
As a face of your company. Does it necessarily mean that they're always going to be the face of your company, or can you kind of bring those people in and out?
Right. And I think you see that a lot when you're looking on TV. I think the bigger companies do that very well. This person is the CMO of this company, and this person is the general counsel for this company. And, so, but that comes, of course, if you are a big company, you've got 7 or 8 mouthpieces that have been media trained for 20 years and have a ton of experience and have already, not all smaller companies, and we work with a lot of young startups as well, have that person ready, willing, and able. Sometimes the only one you've got is your CEO. That's fine too, as long as they're good.
Okay. So, you're in Miami, living the dream, running your PR firm. Have you always known this is what you wanted to do, or was there some bumps on the road?
Yeah, lots of bumps. I love the bumps. It's all part of the journey. I'm in iteration 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. I was a screenwriter in college. I wanted to make movies. I lived in LA for 3 years. I moved to New York and spent 12 and a half, 13 years in New York as a magazine reporter, magazine writer, magazine editor, wrote a couple books. And I woke up one day in New York. I had 2 kids, and I was like, man, this town is tough. I was like, I can't believe I've done this for 12 and a half years, 13 years. So New York was a great place for 13 years for me, but it was not a great place for 14 years. I was done. Okay. So I moved to Miami, became an editor-in-chief of a magazine down here for 4 or 5 years called Ocean Drive. And again, I felt like there was a ceiling. Maybe publishing was kind of taking its dip, and I looked, and I felt like, well, for me as a person, as a dad, as an employee, whatever, this isn't my future. And I started my PR firm, basically being that as a magazine editor for so many years, entrepreneurs, billionaires, celebrities, CEOs, companies, whomever were coming to me. Hey, can you get me in your magazine? Hey, can you write a story about me? How do I get on TV? How do I do this? And I thought, well, there's a business there. I can help these people. And so I opened up my company, The Tag Experience, and our tagline really is, at Tag, you're it. It was no longer about me being the editor and having the spotlight on me as this big, spokesperson for this media brand. It was about you, the client. We're going to help you get on TV. We're going to help you get in magazines. We're going to help you get in the blogs and the newspapers. So that's where I'm at now. I think this is it. I think I've built a good enough foundation in this business that I won't ever need to switch again. And I'm super grateful for my clients and my partners and my team that I've got. And it's worked out quite well. We're also happy to be very lucky that I'm in Miami, a town that has seen exponential growth in the last 3 or 4 years.
Right. And plenty of shenanigans.
Plenty of shenanigans, so that people need PR. Crisis.
Absolutely. Yes. It is I love the city. I've always had a great time when I'm there. So, moving from LA to New York, screenwriting to magazine writing, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the most important thing with writing magazines and even blogs now, because of clickbait, right? So you got to have that headline that really works. It's just creativity. What's your headline? I mean, in LA, it's like, what's your story? Can you pitch me your movie in 2 sentences? What's your title? What's your thesis? Right. What's your 1-story pitch line? Same thing, magazines, same thing. What's our headline? Why is it important? Now with PR, same thing. If you're coming to me and you're saying to me, Jared, my podcast now just got picked up by this network, and we're featured on this many stations, and we've got this many listeners, we're going to put a word out for you. What's our headline? What's our story? What's our quote? So right. It's a very similar narrative packaged in a very different sort of way.
Okay. So, and you touched on something, you said creativity, and I want to go back to that because I like talking about this. I believe in flow state and all of those kinds of, mind manipulation things. I believe that every human has the ability to be wildly creative, but it's hard sometimes. What tricks do you have to help somebody get into that, or method do you have that gets you into that creative mindset?
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because I'm now 45 years old, but I had my first job out of college when I was 21 or 22. I do have someone on my team that's 22. I don't expect them to have the 20 plus years of corporate and creative experience that I have. So it's not fair for me to sit around the round table with them and expect them to have the same headline or story that I'm going to have. But if I can have them there sitting next to me when I do come up with it, or one of my senior members comes up with it, maybe that challenges them to think that way. Because somewhere along the line, somebody did that to me. Like, I didn't just learn how to be an editor in chief. I had to spend 10 years in magazines to see how that goes. I didn't learn how to be an
Right.
executive editor before that. I had to spend 8 years in magazines. I didn't learn how to be a news director. So it was all my steps and journeys. There was always a boss and a mentor. That said, you've got to be ready to pitch in. You got to be able to come up with something. And I don't have a problem with if you're not the most creative person in the world, as long as you got the hustle. There's other ways to go about doing things than
Right.
the creativity. Maybe there's some hustle there. Like, well, I'm going to do everything except come up with the headline. I'll write the 400 words that needs to get done. I just can't think of the story. Okay, that's helpful. Right. So we'll get there. I do think challenging people though to be creative. I mean, one great idea can change the game for everybody. You're watching TV one day and some commercial comes on and you're like, whoa, that was
Yes.
awesome.
The book Hook Point says that a good hook can change the world.
Yeah.
Right? Just do it. Right.
Yeah. That's it.
You made your way. Like those great hooks are $5 foot long. Everybody knows what they are. And they're game changing.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I think $5 foot long saved Subway.
Probably. That's awesome. Yeah, I knew exactly what you were saying. I didn't think of Jersey Mike's or, I thought of Sunny Subway.
Absolutely. So
I don't know what Converse or Reebok's line is. I know Nike's. I don't know the other one's lines.
And Adidas is my favorite sports shoe.
I don't know if they have one.
I mean, I know the Corn song, but
yes,
that's it, right?
Yes.
So,
correct.
Yeah, I think they did a great job branding, but they don't have that tagline that Nike does, and I think that's why, Nike's always going to be just a little bit ahead of Adidas, at least for my lifetime. Pepsi, Taste of a New Generation, changed, put them on the map for against Coca-Cola. So
yeah,
I agree. But how do those, moments? How do you capture that greatness? Or how do you know, or do you don't? You just put a bunch of stuff out there.
Well, I mean, also, again, going back to the hustle. So, these brands were not built overnight. And so sometimes your companies aren't ready. You could have the greatest one-liner ever, but nobody's paying attention to the product's crappy or whatever. It kind of just goes by we do sometimes come up with awesome stuff, but the brand just isn't ready for prime time. So it helps, right. It's helpful, but it doesn't get them to, 1 billion customers. But we do have situations where we have a rum. We have a rum that we represent. It's a spiced rum out of the Dominican Republic. And we've been doing a lot of press for them. It's been going very well. And Fodor's Travel, which is a very big respected travel site, recently called this rum the unofficial rum of the Dominican Republic. Well, for us and for that brand, you've just got this huge travel site that just called you the unofficial rum of the Dominican Republic. There you go, run with it, like brand that everywhere. So
yes,
that wasn't us coming up with a line, but it was us putting it in front of the proper editor who could then write the right report. So those things are important. It's step by step. Maybe that gets them into more liquor stores or more restaurants. Maybe it gets them their distribution deal. It's maybe more investors. Everything matters.
Absolutely. I think. So you're looking for the perfect storm. You're just always looking. You're always hustling. You might come up with it out of the gray matter, where somebody else might come up with it for you and just grab it and run.
Yeah, and that's part
Be
of
ready to
our part of our hustle. We put the products in the hands of the right journalists, the right influencers, the right VIPs, maybe it's celebrities. We host the right events where we bring the right RSVPs into our event. We get our founders in front of the right journalists to do the right interviews. We make sure they get the right photo shoots. We look at their social media. Is your LinkedIn bio ready to roll? Is your Instagram nice and clean? Is everything cleaned up? Are you tweeting the right messages? And right, so it's a full circle. If you think about some of these companies and these brands, they want everything from social media to influencer to marketing to crisis to PR to content marketing to advertising to thought leadership to speaking at events. Right. And then, oh, well, wait, now it's back to, we got to fix that social media. Well, wait, he needs to write an article. So there's so much that can be going on today. You have to be aware there's 10, 11, 12, 13 verticals that could give someone that ability to reach somebody. It's not just, it's exhausting, right? I mean, you think about it.
Well, and then just the social media vertical is,
yeah,
how much time do I put into TikTok versus Instagram?
We're launching
versus
2
LinkedIn
TikTok accounts next week. Yeah, we're launching. So we've got corporate financial clients that want to be big on LinkedIn. We've got products that need to be big on Instagram. We've got a store that needs to be big on TikTok. We've got a founder that needs to be big on Twitter. I'm telling you, when what is that one? Clubhouse came out in the middle of COVID, and we had all these founders that wanted to be on Clubhouse, and we literally, myself and my team, we took these Clubhouse classes to learn, and that was such a flash in the pan, but we didn't know.
On some of you got to learn them all, right? If they come on, because they could be the next TikTok, right? TikTok took the #1 site in the world mid 22.
I learned about TikTok from my children.
Yeah, my children learned it from me.
Okay, wow, that's cool. Cool dad.
Well, I'm back in the Musical.ly days, right? I'm an early adopter of almost everything.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, I'm the saying that early bird gets the trap, or that gets the worm. I'm generally the mouse that gets the cheese. And
okay.
So I'm a very early adopter in a lot of things. But okay, since I'm an early adopter, your company's tag. Right now in the tech world, we're going into Internet 3.0, and we have new apps like Jarvis and artificial intelligence, and I'm using a new app that's helping me. I'm going to put this episode, all the audio, into a thing. It's going to write the whole bio for me, right? And then my guys are going to go back and edit it and stuff like that. Is that a good tool for this community, or is it a crutch that people are going to me, artificial intelligence eventually gets flat and stops working because everybody's aware that it's artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Are you real?
I don't know yet. I have no proof that I am. But I believe
click
so.
on the box, find 3 stoplights to show me that you're not a bot.
Right.
I think Web3, which again, all this stuff is exploding in Miami. Our clients are coming at us. We've got crypto clients, metaverse clients. We've taken meetings with Web3. You're already living in the metaverse and the Web3, whether you know it or not, because your entire profile is digital. You pay your credit card online. You're on Facebook. You're on Instagram. We're doing this via Zoom. It's being passed through wires, and it's going through the metaverse in some way. So what a lot of these companies are trying to do is just give you sort of more of a presence there. They're not telling you to live and date and marry and have babies in the metaverse, although 200 years from now, listen, we saw what can happen when the world has to shut down, and we don't know when that's going to happen again. But if it does happen again, can we still go to a concert in the metaverse? Can we put on our goggles or our earpods and say, I really want to go to that Kanye concert he's performing? You pay $20, you go into the metaverse, and oh, by the way, if you pay $30, you get a little bit closer. And would you like a t-shirt? Okay, they can put that t-shirt on you, and that's cool. And then your friend is going, you send them a link, right? So we can play nice in that world. And like I said, we're already living there. So many of our apps, I counted the other day, it's 27 or 28 apps on the front screen of our phone. I've got 7 screens or something like that. So we are living in the metaverse. I do believe it's a good thing. If handled properly. In terms of what you were saying, is it a crutch, right? I mean, can the 22-year-old kids on my team spell properly? No. because they've been using spell check their entire life, and they don't know how to write cursive. And my 2 children are not being taught how to write cursive. Now, is that a big deal? I don't really care. Or maybe I'd rather them have that extra time learning how to play tennis or learning to code or learning to speak Spanish than cursive, because writing letters has gone away. Your everything's email. Right. So it's okay. We've evolved. I think 5 years ago, we were like, what do you mean they're not learning cursive? Now we're like, oh, yeah, who cares? They're not learning cursive.
I was on the boat of, I never learned it anyway. So it doesn't, I can't write. I'm so dyslexic. I've been using a brother word processor since the age of 5-6 years old. So
okay.
So yeah, I'm super lucky to have an advocate in that world.
Yeah.
But
so Web3 and AI and VR. I mean, again, I'm looking around my kitchen. I've got Alexa over there, but my stove, my microwave, my refrigerator, they're all smart. You know, if I hook them all up, my car is outside, it's connected to my Bluetooth, my phone, this. We are so connected in a metaverse, we don't even realize it. In fact, I'm sure there are people, the Elon Musks and the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, that are hardcore living in that world and doing things there that we're all going to be doing in a couple years.
And it's going to come, you know, the progress of metaverse from Meta, not Metaverse, but Meta, the company, the prior Facebook company, formerly known as Facebook, I guess, is moving to Meta. And the progress that's been there in the last 6 months has been pretty big, but it's starting to look better. Things are coming out. I don't think the hardware is quite there yet.
Yeah, and I've met with some of these companies that are trying to do these things, and again, to explain on a very basic level. So what can also happen is Walmart can buy a piece of land in the metaverse, assuming they choose the proper sort of metaverse that they're in. And then, so they've bought this plot of land, which you can go into the store and you can shop and pull things off and put them in your cart and buy them, and they'll get sent to you. You want paper towels, you want bottled water, whatever. But now there's a Walmart there. So if you own a store, you're like, I want to be next to the Walmart, so that when Ken or Jared is driving to Walmart, they pass my store, and maybe I've got a big sign out there that says, before you go to Walmart, come in and buy our, XYZ. And then Snoop Dogg, who's bought land in the metaverse, he's bought a lot, he can then say, well, we're going to do a concert, but maybe we want to do it at the amphitheater in Miami. So the Miami amphitheater says, oh, right, we need a metaverse. We need to buy land. And then each month they have a new show. And then Bud Light says, well, we need to set up a stand, right? So it's starting that way. It's just domino effect. You don't need to be there. It's still much nicer to go outside in Miami and swim in my pool than to go in a metaverse pool. But we don't know where the future is going to be. Maybe you want to show off your new bathing suit in the metaverse, and you do want to go in that pool, but maybe you're allergic to chlorine. There's a world out there, but for now, right now, it's about paying your bills, maybe watching some music, meeting somebody there, a celebrity that's doing a meet and greet in the metaverse and concerts. And so, yeah, I do think it is a proper way for us to explore the next level.
That's it for today's show, folks. If you'd like to join my text line community, the number is 314-370-2871. All you have to do to join that text line is send me any question about business or technology. I'll do all the research, and I'll give you an absolutely free, totally unbiased answer. Get to work.